Welcome to the Project Management Happy Hour. Our aim is to share frank and honest discussion about real-world issues in project management, but do it in a way that's not too dry, though it might get a bit salty sometimes. How to get that project management job with PM career coach Kayla Quijas.
I'm Kate Anderson, recovering project manager and exploratory COO, and I've made all the mistakes that we're going to try to help you avoid today. And with me today, as always, is the incredible, the stoic, the unstoppable, the total powerhouse, Kim Essendrup.
I am here.
Where in the world are you today, Kim?
I'm at home. I'm finally over my jet lag from my last trip to lovely Bulgaria. It was an amazing trip.
Yeah. And thank you, listeners, for your patience. Much travel was the reason why I think we might have missed a month, and we appreciate you letting us get these out for you a little bit late. Thank you.
We're so going to make up for it because we've got some amazing shows on the docket, including the one today. But before we get there, a little bit about what we do. If you're not familiar with PM Happy Hour, our format is casual, but honest talk on tough subjects in project management. We do not pretend to have all the answers, but hopefully we've got some useful lessons learned that we can share.
And be sure to join our membership at pmhappyhour.com, where you can take a quiz for this episode, get PDUs for it, and we'll upload that to PMI for you. But we've also got our other podcasts. We have resources to leverage, virtual happy hours within our community, the community to leverage to ask your questions to. And in January, we're focusing on goal setting. So come join us for some goal setting. And if that's not enough to sell you, you can also get one-on-one coaching sessions with myself and Kim. Head to pmhappyhour.com/membership to sign up.
Kate, you know what I've observed lately?
I don't. Tell me.
It feels like the project management job market is a washing machine. I see there's layoffs and people getting new jobs. There's just a lot of churn. At least it seems that way in the project management field.
I recently changed jobs and was considering getting like a program job as part of it. And it was very challenging. I did not get the types of responses I thought I would get as I went into that job hunt.
And although it feels like it's maybe intensifying, I think we've seen an increase in this ever since the COVID times.
Oh, yeah.
And we've seen this through our coaching, right? We in our community, Kate and I do a lot of coaching, and we speak with our members and help them. And the topics of a lot of our recent coaching sessions, well, not just recent, for the last couple of years, has been job search, preparing for interviews, trying to get that big project management job. And it just seems like a lot of people are going through changes like that right now.
And I'm so excited that we have Kayla on today to talk to us about that. After 5 years as a cake decorator and feeling stuck in a dead-end job, Kayla Quijas made a bold move. She quit after being asked to return to work after a grueling 12-hour shift. Honestly, preach, slay, boots down, you ate, way to go, girl. Determined to break into the corporate world, she started as a receptionist at a law firm and rapidly climbed the corporate ladder. Now, Kayla is a senior project manager at a global law firm overseeing one of its largest accounts.
Realizing the invaluable role that her coaches played in her journey to success, she found her true purpose, which is inspiring others to escape dead-end jobs and pursue fulfilling careers. Now, as a certified senior career coach, Kayla empowers individuals to make intentional career transitions. Welcome to the show, Kayla.
Thank you so much, Kim and Kate. I am so excited to be here. I've been listening to the show for years. This is almost a little surreal.
It's awesome to have you on.
You're doing a lot of cool stuff, but that is also a lot of work. What drives your sense of purpose?
I think what really drives my sense of purpose is that project management, for me, truly changed my life. From where I used to come from, I wasn't really making a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of purpose. I didn't have a place that I was going in my life, really. And as soon as I picked a career path, particularly one that felt accessible to me for where I was in my life, everything just changed. And suddenly I found myself in a place where I could provide value, where what I was good at would naturally align with what someone valued, something that I could get paid for. And the great thing is that I had amazing people along the way help me get there. And I think we'll get into that a little bit more when we get into my story. But what really, really drives me is the fact that it changed my life so much. I want to help other people change their lives the same way that I changed mine.
I love that.
That is amazing. That is so cool. That's what everybody wishes for, right?
Right.
Well, on the flip side, there's a question that I like to ask all of our guests, and you might know what it is if you've been listening. What is the most valuable business lesson that you had to learn the hard way?
I do love this question. The most valuable business lesson that I learned the hard way is actually more of an emotional one. And that is that confidence is probably your most valuable tool. When I was a baby project manager,
Yes.
I felt like a baby project manager. I had zero confidence in myself, and it showed. It truly showed. I second guessed myself. I deferred to everybody else.
Yeah.
I just didn't have power in my decisions. And because of that, stakeholders ghosted my meetings. They didn't pick up my calls.
Yeah.
They just completely, it was just a lack of respect. And I honestly can't blame them looking back on it. It's because I didn't command confidence. And if you don't have that confidence, people will not respect you. And it took me actually failing at a job as a project manager and looking back and seeing the part that I played in that and realizing I need to show up better. I need to believe in myself a little bit more. I am good at what I do, and I need to believe that before anybody else will believe that. And as soon as I convinced myself of that, a lot of things fell into place for me.
Oh my gosh, it's another person embracing believe in your delulu.
Yeah.
It's 2025 is the year of embracing that you're delusional and great at everything, and I love it. Yes.
Got to be a little delusional, yeah.
Got to be a little delusional to make this whole thing work.
Totally.
I mean, really kudos to you coming from a challenge that you encountered in your career and to come back and realize confidence is the key, and then they come back out of that with confidence. Wow, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Somebody I work with likes to quote, like, when Elle Woods from Legally Blonde gets into Harvard and she goes, "What? Like it's hard?" One of her favorite things to say.
Yeah, totally. I love that.
So, Kayla, I think originally I reached out to you on LinkedIn because I saw what you were doing around project management career coaching. And I thought, whoa, what is this stuff? And I thought it was really cool, the things you're doing there. And looking forward to talking through some of that today with you. But before we go too deep, can you share with our audience a little bit about what exactly it is that you do in that area and who you work with?
Absolutely. So I'm a senior legal project manager for an international law firm, but I also am a part-time career coach for both aspiring project managers and existing project managers who want to take their career to the next level because I have experience in both things, and those things really excite me.
So what I think is so cool about this is that you're not just some career coach out there who's a recruiter or have done some personal coaching. You are a real life practicing project manager and you're successful at it. And so it's really cool to have that perspective come and provide career coaching to project managers.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I do it, because I can actually speak from real experience being in the industry and knowing a lot of other project managers. I can speak the speak and walk the walk. So I really like that I can directly translate that knowledge to the people that I help.
And you shared with us that you actually started out as a cake decorator and then made the break into project management. And now you've also broken into the PM Happy Hour podcast. So you are pretty much complete. You have fully embraced the Delulu. And I mean, there's got to be listeners that we have that should be shook by that, right? Because they could be like, "Oh, I want to get into it." It's like, you can, and then you could be on the podcast. Look how easy that is. So can you tell us how you went from cakes to status reports?
I can definitely tell you about that. And for anybody out there that's listening to this and is like, "Ooh, I'd like to be on this podcast," I was one of those people. And it's funny because I'll do things like I was at a conference last year and I was like, I want to speak at this conference. And then the next year I was speaking at the conference. So for people out there who think it's not possible, it totally is. Set the goal, write it down, meet the right people. You can totally do it. So
Yes.
segue. Well, I'll get off my soapbox around it now. Okay. So yes, I started as a professional cake decorator and very quickly realized that it's just a dead end job. You don't make a lot of money in that. Unfortunately, I did realize I was not going to be the next Buddy Valastro. I was not going to get a Cake Boss show of my own and be fabulously famous on TLC with my own cake decorating show. It wasn't going to happen for me. It wasn't in the cards. So I decided to break into corporate. And what I think is really, really funny is they think of corporate as this soul sucking drudgery. And for me, it's quite the opposite. Cake decorating for me it was soul sucking. It was 70-hour weeks, doing something, standing up all day for very little appreciation and kind of pouring my soul into something that just it wasn't seen and it wasn't appreciated. And that for me sucked my soul out. So moving into corporate was actually refreshing for me.
It's good.
I had very little confidence. So I started as a receptionist at a law firm because I didn't think I could do anything else. But I'm the type of person who just doesn't sit still. And as a receptionist, I was like, oh, can I help you? Can I help you do this? Can I help you do that? And because of that, got pulled into the accounting department, kind of worked my way up there. And one day I had my manager say to me, you'd be a really good project manager. And I looked at her and I was just like, what's that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I had never heard of it before. I did not know that this was a career path, but I looked into it and sure enough, project managers, they kind of dig into things. They get teams together. They improve things. They take things to completion. And I saw myself in that job description. And I realized she was right. And I got my PMP. I aligned my experience with the 3 years of required experience, got my PMP, and then the rest was history. Here I am now.
I love that. I think that some folks can't imagine things being better on the other side. How do I want to word this? It's like there are some people who would dream of being a cake decorator, right? Like they can't wait to quit this job and open their bakery and become the cake decorator. But no matter the job, there's always some amount of drudgery to it. So it really is about the type of drudgery that you enjoy doing and what you need kind of around the drudgery that makes your life go well. And so if you are able to find that in cake decorating, amazing for you. And if you're like, I'm done with that, no thank you, I would like to go be a new place and get valued in new ways, amazing to go and chase that down. I think that is very cool.
I love the way you put that, Kate. And I do love that you're taking both sides into account, right? If you're in corporate and that is drudgery for you and you want to quit and open a flower shop or be a cake decorator or be an artist or do something different, like more power to you. You should not be stuck in a job that you hate if you don't have to be. Do something different. That is possible for you. And I think that I'm kind of an example of that. And I want people to know that they can do it.
Yeah, I am absolutely of that same mind. So for our folks today listening who are hoping to get into project management, whatever we were talking before we got together to make this amazing podcast today, you shared your approach for preparing for a project manager job search, something you cleverly called the iron triangle, which of course I loved, obviously. Could you tell us, and we're all familiar with the iron triangle for project management, which is scope, schedule, and cost. But there's the iron triangle for career coach or for career path aspirations. Tell us what that is from your perspective.
Yeah, definitely. And I laughed at myself a little bit too. And I was like, oh, this is the iron triangle of project management career searching because we love triangles so much. So Yeah, we all know that the actual iron triangle, scope, schedule, budget, this is directly applicable to quality, right? So what I came up with, the three legs of the project management job search iron triangle, is credentials, experience, and network. And these three things all play together similarly in the quality of your job search. If all three of these are very low, you're going to have a tough time in your job search.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to look at them and look at where you stand on all three of them and balance them out. Try to strengthen where you're weak and exploit where you are already really strong. So if you're lacking in some of those credentials, try to see, can you get your CAPM, or can you realign some of your experience to get those 3 years, to get your PMP? Do you have experience in project management? If not, maybe you need a bridge job, what I kind of call a bridge job. These are some jobs that will allow you to get experience that is in alignment with project management, or where you can rub shoulders with project managers. And then there's your network, which is scary. People, they hate the term networking. They get a little freaked out by it. I love networking. I love meeting new people. I wish I could come up with a better term than networking, because people always roll their eyes at me when I say it. But it really is like the people that you know and the people that you keep good, strong relationships with, they can make or break it for you. And it's really very important. So those are the three legs of what I call the project management job search iron triangle.
So I think we're going to dig down into the three of these. And I love this: credentials, experience, network as the three dimensions. And you were just now talking about balancing the three. If you've weakened one, you can focus on it. But maybe a silly question, but when we talk about iron triangle in kind of a project management context, we can say, well, you can give up on cost, but then you've got to make up for it in, maybe, different schedule. So if I'm weak in experience, can I make up for that by doubling up on credentials and networking? Or do you feel like it doesn't really work quite that way?
I think it does work that way, honestly. Now, where this translation isn't 100%, to be very honest, is that if you're really strong on credentials, really strong in experience, and really strong on network, that's not going to hurt you. But if you're really weak on all of them, that will. So this is not a perfect metaphor. However, if your network is weak and your credentials and your experience are strong, that will balance out. So when I'm coaching people, we'll kind of look at this and say, all right, like, we can retool your experience. Maybe you don't have the credentials. Let's talk about what you need to get. And with my clients, I encourage almost all of them to get their PMP, because I can look at their experience and say, you have it. You have the experience. Like, let's get after it, and I'm going to help you get there. And then I coach them on how to get the network. So we kind of boost all of these areas.
I definitely think I want to dive into credentials first, because I feel like you've already said something that I think is fascinating, because people ask us, like, do I need a PMP to be a project manager? And Kim and I are like, no, you don't need it, because I don't think you need it. Some of the best project managers I've ever met do not have a PMP. They are incredible get shit doners who are just able to corral a large group of people, communicate risk. It's like it's just part of their being that they're just existing in that space. But when we were like, we don't think it's so great, you were like, yeah, I think it is valuable. Say more.
Absolutely. Well, I would ask you, these people who are like, they're not PMP, but they're amazing at what they do they have a lot of experience, and do they know a lot of people in the industry?
I think that depends. That depends. Yeah.
Okay. Because what I'm getting at, again, is like this iron triangle concept, right? Like, if you have the experience and you know people that you can lean on, you probably don't need the credentials. And I think it also depends on where you are in your career. If you've already been doing it, no, you don't need your PMP. You don't need your CAPM. If you're trying to break into it, I do think it's important. When I wanted to break into it, it is one of the first things that I did. I got my PMP, and almost immediately, that's when people started looking at me. That's when they started taking me seriously, because I didn't have the formal title before that. I could tweak my experience to kind of make it look that way, but I didn't have the formal title, and I certainly didn't have the network.
Yeah.
So the credentials really, for me, were a game changer. That said, I recently had a client who cracked the networking code on LinkedIn. He had never been a project manager before, but he just got interview after interview after interview because he got really good at that LinkedIn code, and he immediately became a senior project manager without a PMP because that networking aspect and the fact that we were able to retool his experience to make it really aligned with project management, that worked for him.
My gosh, the Delulu is strong in that one. That's incredible.
I also think, though, I mean, he was studying for his PMP because the confidence that it gave him. Like, when people are trying to break into project management and they don't speak the lingo, like stakeholder, RACI chart, RAID log, like, what are these things? What are these templates that people are talking about? What are all of these PMP and RAID? What does this mean?
Give me an acronym glossary.
Yes, all of the acronyms.
It does. It gives you a language.
Yeah, exactly. So then they can go into an interview with confidence, knowing that they have that jargon down pat. They don't even have to get the initials behind their name, but to study for it and to kind of watch some videos and know what they're talking about. So that client that I was talking about that cracked that LinkedIn code, he was still studying for it. I don't think he ever actually went and got it, but the boost to his confidence that it gave him was invaluable.
Yeah, I agree that the place where the PMP really helps you is when you're getting that next job or where you're getting a job. Because if you're humming along, I'm doing my job and I think, well, I want to be a better, I'm going to level up and get my PMP. I mean, it can help, right? It gives you some structure and some more knowledge, but where it really pays the dividends is when you've got to put that app out and now you can say PMP on that thing. And that really, it feels like it puts you in a whole nother category.
Yep, 100%, especially now. And it's so competitive. It is so competitive out there right now. And I hate to say it, but if you are going up against yourself and one of you has a PMP and one of you doesn't, the PMP is going to win the job, unfortunately.
So PMP, of course, is the big three letters, right? But what are the other certs that seem like they tick a lot of boxes or they get received well? Are there any other ones that are kind of high on the list for a PM?
The only other one that I would say is CAPM. I don't know a lot about the Google certification course. And I don't know if you guys know a lot about the Google certification course, but I don't personally hold a lot of stock behind that one just because it's not PMI stamped. That's really it.
Yeah. I keep being like, I should take this. I wonder how good of a PM Google thinks I am,
Yeah, I've kind of thought that too, just to see.
Yeah. So I might enjoy taking a test of my skills from a not PMI based institution. It is one of those things where, any organization that you're a part of where you have to keep taking continuing education credits can always be annoying. But it is one of those things where it keeps you fresh. It keeps you on top of what's going on. It makes you look at yourself like, I want my doctors to be going to their continuing education. I want my building people to keep going to continuing education. So like the people that are running stuff at work, we want them to keep doing those things. There is a reason why that like body of knowledge that comes from PMI is so valuable.
Yeah. Ugh.
I've got two more credentials to ask you about here. So what about an Agile cert? Is that a good bolt-on or should I get that instead? I mean, what do you think about Agile certs?
The PMP is becoming so more encompassing of Agile. It's definitely bringing more Agile into, so it depends on what you want to do, right? If you want to go be an IT project manager, then yes, I think you probably should. At the same time, you're going to learn about it when you're doing your PMP.
Good. Okay. I got it. Yeah. The PMP is definitely getting more and more, the agile mindset is part of that credential. And one more credential, well, a group of credentials I'll ask you about are, what about university certificates in project management, or bachelor's degree in project management, or master's degrees in project management? What are your thoughts on those?
My thoughts on these are that if you want to do it, great. My love for the PMP is that it is so accessible. Certificates and bachelor's degrees and master's degrees are thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get your PMP for, I'm going to throw out a ballpark, like I would say less than $700-ish these days. Between all, you have to get the PMBOK and register for the course and whatever it is that you use to get your 35 hours of formal education.
Yeah.
That is accessible. I mean, it can still be difficult for some people, but way more accessible than a $10,000 course or a bachelor's degree or a master's degree.
Yeah, I'm pretty anti-student loan debt because of how that's ballooned. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, at some point there's going to be plenty of people who've gone through project management programs and will be in the industry, but they're just not the majority yet. That's clear that colleges have been doing that recently. But to your point, Kayla, they're going to have to compete with a $700 certificate. So I don't know if those things really balance out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see if you're in college and you like looking for a degree program, like, hey, this is really what I want to do, and that could be where you go and get your 4-year degree. But yeah, I can also see I'm at a point in my career, my life, where I say I think I'm going to go into project management, and path one is go get a 4-year degree or a master's, and path two maybe I'm going to go get my PMP. PMP is pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, so to get a little deeper into my story. Yes, I did have a manager tell me I'd be a good project manager. And at the same time, I was very conflicted about what I wanted to do. I was thinking, okay, either project manager, or I also love charts and graphs. I'm terrible at math, but I love charts and graphs. And I was thinking data scientist.
Okay.
I was also thinking accountant for a second because I was in the accounting department. So it was these three things that I was kind of looking at. And I looked at accountant and very quickly realized I was going to have to go back to college, and I just didn't have the funds. That was not in the cards for me.
Yeah.
And then I looked at data scientist and thought very seriously about that, and thought about a boot camp through a university, and it was $10,000. And again, for where I was, the answer was no.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, I mean, I'm thankful for that, but $700 for the PMP was accessible, and it changed my life. I am making 4 times, maybe 5 times as much money as I was as a cake decorator for the investment that I made. It's crazy.
Whenever I graduated college, and I started college in engineering and did that for 3 years before I was like, oh no, I don't want to do this much math for my day job. And so then I ultimately ended up with a degree in sustainability, which I lovingly say is tree hugging. But I had a lot of engineering friends when I graduated, and there was a competition between, like a friendly one between my friends and I when they were graduating and I was graduating. And I consistently had a higher salary than any of them starting, and they were engineers. And I have, some of them went on to go work for like space companies that you've heard of, and I'm sure I've outmade them for most of my career with what I've done with project management. So I agree that the income potential is definitely there. It is a high paying competitive field, especially if you're good at it.
Yeah. And that was really why I decided to become a coach. Another thing that I did besides getting my PMP is I did a couple things. I hired a resume writer myself before I became a coach. This was in 2020. And she made me see myself in a way that I never thought possible. When she redid my resume and my LinkedIn profile, I looked at it and I was blown away by the person that I saw on that paper. I was like, oh my God, I'm amazing. Look at what a great project manager I am. And it was so incredibly helpful to have that resume to push out and then the LinkedIn profile to pull recruiters in. So I did that and then had my first project management job, which I said I did not do so well at. And after that, I got a coach. I got a project management specific career coach, and he changed the game for me.
Awesome.
He really did. He helped me with my confidence. He was there for me to bounce questions off of. He held my hand through my first 90 days. And even though I was the last project manager on my team to get hired, I was only the second one to get promoted to senior. So it was just these people who helped me change my life were so worth it.
So let's continue on. So we talked about credentials, and now you're already starting to kind of talk a little bit about experience. Can you talk more about, when we're talking about our iron triangle and the three aspects we need to really use to get in? So what about experience? What do you have to share with us about that?
Yes. So I actually think that this is one of the air quotes easier ones to get, because if you have the language, if you know the jargon, a lot of times you can look at your past experience through the lens of project management. People do it without realizing they are doing it, because it is getting things done with teams, putting teams together to make sure things get done. And that a lot of times is just what our day jobs are. So if you have the jargon and you know what it is that you are aiming for, then you can definitely retool your experience through the lens of project management. Now, that said, if you have the title of project manager formally, that's definitely going to help. But we have some ways on your resume and in your LinkedIn profile to help with that.
So are there any particular day jobs or activities that you see people do a lot that are project management work that they don't think of as such, that maybe they should?
Yes. So actually, reception is actually a good one. Any sort of assistant is a really good one. We have legal assistants at our law firm. They do a ton of project management and you wouldn't even know it. Events coordinators, anything where you are dealing with different people, particularly if they're in different departments, and just trying to get things done, or if you are streamlining processes or making things better, like that is project management.
So if somebody's still feels like they're actually light on experience. And as some of the people in our membership who Kate and I have mentored, they're kind of newer to it and they really want to get some more real hands-on experience. One of the things that often we'll say is, well, hey, go down to your local PMI chapter, volunteer and get involved, do some stuff.
Yeah.
Is that the kind of experience you would give, or what other kinds of things would you recommend for somebody to help build that aspect of their resume?
I hate to say it, but I would not say PMI is the best place to volunteer.
Really?
It depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you are trying to network, volunteering at PMI is very good, but I do not think it is going to give you project management experience. And maybe I'm biased because I did volunteer at a PMI and it wasn't project management. It was a different type of volunteering. But I made invaluable relationships with people that I keep up with to this day. So the networking aspect of it, absolutely. What I'm going to tell people to get that experience is, first of all, find a job description out there, a project management job description that you think that you would like. All right, not a senior one. If you're trying to get into project management, let's not aim for senior. Maybe a junior project manager or a project coordinator. Look at that and see if you can align your past experience with what it's asking for. Cheat code, use ChatGPT to help you with this. We are in the age of AI. It is very helpful. So that's the first thing that I'm going to tell you to do, is just look at your current experience. And if you think you're light on it, then I would say do a bridge job, project coordinator, administrative assistant, office assistant, marketing coordinator. A lot of things in marketing actually have a lot.
Yeah.
Social media coordinator, support analyst, business strategy analyst. A lot of these things, operations specialist, that's a good one. I think the threshold for getting into those is not as high. You can make your way into that, and that's going to help you get some of that experience. I have not had a lot of clients that have had to take this bridge job because I think with the right lens, you really can make your experience align very well with project management.
Okay, so the third part of the iron triangle is networking. And I am excited to talk to you about that today because I agree networking is the most important part of job hunting. And I have gotten every job I've basically ever had. I mean, it's got to be, I've never counted, but it's got to be 70% of my jobs have come from a relationship I've built. So, and I guess I would even include that, but jobs I've gotten from doing this podcast, because this is another form of networking. And so I have rarely been up against the job application system. I recently was like, oh, I'm going to go try to apply for jobs. It is totally brutal right now. And a lot of my experience, I know, is upsetting the AI and learning models, language learning models that are reading my resume, because I don't have like 17 years of experience on the same type of project. I have it across many types of projects. So I was like, oh, I'll have to learn a new skill to like overcome the language learning model and make it happy. I don't want to do this every time. And I went back to my network because I was like, I don't want to have to explain my amazing and truly very valuable experience to you. I'll just go to my network and not have to figure this out. And that has worked for me every time. But that means that I have this skill in networking. So I want to talk about, what do you recommend for networking with your people that you coach?
I think what people so fundamentally misunderstand about networking is they think it's about going out there and begging for things.
No.
And it's quite the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Do either of you remember why I'm here? Do you remember how I got here?
I don't.
Okay. So I commented on and reposted about this podcast. And it was after that that Kim reached out to me and was like, this is what you're doing is so cool. A lot of networking is giving. It is giving before you get.
This is so silly, but today in like a coworker type Slack, somebody was like, oh, I haven't heard from this person in a while. And the person who said that she's a C-level person. She's very powerful and influential, but I know the person that she wants to talk to. And I was like, hey, this is how it's going for me. And she was like, oh my gosh, it's so good to talk to you, and wants to know what I'm working on. And I'm sure is going to be like, let's talk about more things. And all I did was just like help her understand what my friend is up to. And it's just not, it's not scary. People want to hear what you're doing, just as like true statement facts, and people like helping. And you also like helping people because we're humans. Like, it's a very easy thing to do if you don't think about it like what you were saying with like, oh, I'm a little grabby grouper person and it's time to go beg people for job. Please pick me, pick me. Like, that's what I feel like with the algorithm, which is really funny. Like, I don't want to do that game with the algorithm. I'm just going to go talk to my friends and see if somebody wants to work with me.
Yeah. And Kate, I can tell like very clearly you're extroverted, and you know, for some people,
of course,
it's hard, right? Because they're not extroverted, and that is a challenge. It gets very scary. They get very anxious, and it's very ironic because actually people who are introverted can actually be very good at networking, because what introverts are very good at is finding a system and working that system. Again, I'm going to talk about my client who just like killed the LinkedIn algorithm and started getting interview after interview because he was a little anxious about reaching out to people this way. But he found a repeatable, reliable system and just worked it. So once he found that, everything like opened up for him. So my first piece of advice there is like, give before you get. Like, going into interactions with a mindset of, I am going to help people, not to ask for things, or I am going into whatever situation I'm going into to learn about people. Even if it's like you're going to LinkedIn to do a cold coffee chat with someone, you are there on that cold coffee chat to learn about them. What do you do? How did you get there? What do you love about your job? What is challenging about your job? What are you working on right now? That is it.
Yep.
And at the end of the conversation, is there anything I can do to help you?
Yep.
The great thing about that question is the power of reciprocity. They will likely ask you back. And that's when if you want to ask for, hey, actually, I saw this job, or, let me know if you see something. I think that is perfectly acceptable. And it doesn't seem so weird as, hey, I've never met you, or, hey, we haven't talked in 5 years, but will you please recommend me for this job?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It's really true. And you really have it figured out, because back to the origin story of this conversation, I don't remember what it was. I didn't even remember that you had reposted it, but somehow in LinkedIn, I saw your profile and I thought, oh, what's this about? And then I looked at your profile and I saw some of the content you had posted about your coaching, and you had shared some really cool insights and some of the things you're doing. I thought, wow, this is really cool. And these are all things that you were giving back to the community, giving back to us by posting and resharing, but also your thoughts, your feedback through some of the content you had posted. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. And so that's led to this.
Yeah, totally. And I love getting coached myself. I almost always have a coach. And I had a coach at one point tell me, give it all away for free. All of it. Do lives, do carousels on LinkedIn, write posts, give it all away for free. And the people who really want to work with you will still pay to work with you. But just help people. You're just there to help people in the end. And that will open up doors in a way that you never, ever would have expected. Now, with that said, it's also important to get into the right rooms. And we talked a little bit about going to PMI events and volunteering. And I do think that is very important. Your local PMI chapter probably is your best place to go volunteer and to go to events, particularly if you want to be a project manager. Hint, you don't have to be a project manager to be a part of PMI. You can just go. I mean, you have to be a member of PMI. You have to pay for the membership, but they're not going to check and be like, oh, are you a project manager? You can still go, be a part of the community, learn, meet people, join groups on LinkedIn, follow project management content, engage with the content, because as the story between Kim and I, like, people will see that you engage. They're going to make their way back to your profile. And if you're posting about project management, there's a very good chance that you're going to catch somebody's eye. So it's all of these things that we kind of use in conjunction to open up those doors, because as Kate said, applying online is like a gridlocked highway. You're not getting through. You got to find another way in this day and age.
Yeah. And one of the things I like whenever we talked about this is, I think you said you should be strategically networking. And that was something I really loved. I think that, just talking to anybody in the room is fine, and especially if you're at a place like a conference, you don't know who you're talking to, right? We went to PMI Global. There was somebody at the table who acted a little funny whenever I met her, but not much. And then later, because she'd never seen my face and only heard my voice, she came up to me realizing, oh my gosh, you're Kate from PM Happy Hour. It's almost like I don't have a face if most of this is just podcasting. So you don't know
who your reputation precedes you.
Right? You don't know who you're talking to at a conference, but whenever you're trying to figure out who to talk to, it's helpful to be strategic, right? And so if you could talk a little bit about the advice you'd give your coachees for how to be strategic, I think that's valuable advice.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you are going to go to a conference, or if you are going to go to an online event or volunteer, I do highly recommend that you try to check out ahead of time who is going to be there and figure out who you want to talk to. If you're going to, a national conference, maybe figure out if there's some people there who work for the company that you want to work for,
Yeah.
or who are in the niche or the industry that you are targeting. Those are the people that you should be targeting. And I mean, even if you just go and randomly talk to people, Kate, like it is still good. So like kudos, pat on the back.
Yeah.
Extra credit, like A plus if you do. For the type A people out there, they're writing this down because they want the A plus. Do your research ahead of time and decide who you want to reach out to. Even reach out to them ahead of time on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm also going to this conference. Would love to grab a coffee if you have some time. Like truly, people love to help. Like you said, they
Yeah.
love to help. They love to meet people. They're so flattered when you show interest in them. Like, oh my gosh, this person wants to have coffee with me. There's no reason not to do it. It's really, truly genuine, I think, if you show interest in people.
And I think if, as long as that interest is genuine, I will say the odd flip side of this, like having some minor amount of fame sort of on those spaces, you can tell when it is not genuine. I can tell when people are just reaching out to me because it feels stupid to say this, quote unquote famous, but I'm like, why? What's up, bro? Like, what are you talking about? Why are you messaging me? This is weird and reeks of like awful grossness. Whereas the people who reach out authentically, either to share like, I use this technique or it's been so helpful, like I would just really appreciate and want you to know that. I love to talk to those people. I'm like, yeah, tell me about how your life is. And the people who reach out and are like, oh yeah, like yeah, I don't have words for it. It makes me feel that way. But if it's genuine and authentic, yeah, it is. It's instant ick. Instant ick is what happens. But if it's authentic, and to your point, I know there are people who are nervous about this, but what I would say is find what is authentic for you in reaching out to somebody, right? It's authentic to reach out to somebody that like cold email, cold message them because you're like, I've always wanted to work at Discord is a company that I would be happy to work for. I wonder if anybody from Discord is listening. I applied more than once and was rejected. How dare? But because I can't get through the algorithm because I'm writing resumes with skills from 10 years ago. But if I really wanted that job at Discord, I would just be asking, like, I want to work at Discord. I use your platform all the time. I love it. It's facilitated the best relationships that are in my life. I love the features you're adding. Like, is there somebody I could talk to about what it's like to work there? That would be genuine, even if it would be awkward. And so I think that that's important to keep in mind as you're reaching out. Like it can be genuine, even if it's awkward.
That is amazing advice. And sometimes, yeah, you just have to let it be awkward. Like they're going to remember the awkwardness for about 10 seconds before they move on with their own busy, self-centered life, honestly.
Yes.
Like, I've been in some awkward situations that people are never again going to remember because people are in the end like really just thinking about themselves. So keeping that in mind. But yeah, what you're referring to, Kate, is called a connection story.
Ooh.
And whether it's trying to make that connection to a company like you just did, like I love Discord for X, Y, and Z, real reasons, not just because I want you to pay me money. And it's the same thing with a person, right?
Yeah.
I was recently at a conference. It was actually a legal conference, and there was a woman there that I really wanted to connect with. I had tried to connect with her the previous year, but she like didn't really give me the time of day. And then this year, I was like, I'm going to try again. And we started talking, and it turns out that my parents went to the same high school that she went to. And when we figured that out, it was like, boom, connection. Like, oh my gosh, like, let me do this thing for you. And like those things. So if you can't instantly find the connection, like if you can find a way in with that person, that really helps. And the final thing I'm going to say is this whole time that we've been talking, we've been telling stories. Like there was this one time I did this, or this one time I did that. So that's a really key way when you're communicating with people, particularly in interviews. I think a lot of people like, they like seize up and they're just like, oh, well, I use RAID logs and I really like communicating with people. And they just say these things that your like eyes just kind of close because it's boring and you get lost in what they're saying. But when you're in an interview, you should be telling stories. There was this one time I did this thing. Like, here was the problem, these are the actions I took, and here was the result.
Yeah.
And when you do that, when people can like see the story in their head and when they can see the results, you're going to stand out.
We're coming to the end of our time, and it's been so helpful to understand this lens. So when it comes to, and I know we can't cover all of this in the next, 2 minutes, but when it comes to the job search, right, how do you take all this and apply it to the job search?
So to kind of take everything that we've talked about and put it in a nutshell and apply it directly to the job search, I'm going to say, take the iron triangle and look at it, your credentials, your experience, your network. Where are you strong? Focus on that. Where are you weak? Try to shore it up. And, we talked about each of these in detail, some strategies for strengthening or exploiting each of these areas and strengthen them. And finally, feel free to reach out to me. And I'm happy to talk to anybody about this anytime. The two things I love to nerd out about are project management and how to propel your career forward.
That is great.
So there's one specific question I'd like to ask you about before we wrap up. And I know we could spend another hour talking about this actual search in itself, but there's a lot of chatter that I see on LinkedIn. And I actually pinged you about this on LinkedIn because I thought it was so interesting. But I see a lot of chatter about people in the job market, and they get really upset and really angry, and they feel really locked out of a lot of opportunities because they feel like AI, little robots, are screening all their resumes and filtering them out of opportunities, and they're not even getting a chance to be considered. I mean, do you have any thoughts on this that you can share for us?
I would love to just say, Kate Anderson, think that little robots are keeping me and my experience out of even being considered from several types of opportunities. And I feel very confident about that. I did say earlier, I think I'm using skills from 10 years ago in my resume writing, but I think that is what's happening. So with this real example, Kayla, what would you say to that?
We are in a time of change, for sure. Now, being in a very large group of career coaches, including people who have been in HR and have been recruiters before, what people see as these little bots scanning their resumes for keywords and automatically kicking it out if it doesn't meet said keywords is not happening.
I mean, that's not happening now.
I'm sorry, Kate.
Really? Oh, that's a hot take. Wow. Okay.
Oh, well, I guess, so I have seen at least one system that does this. So I don't think my resume is getting kicked out. I don't think that some bot sees my resume and goes, trash, spits on it, and sends it back out into the universe. But I do think that my resume is getting scanned and the bot is saying this is a 27% match versus an 87% match.
Correct. I do think that technology is evolving and becoming more commonplace. So I will grant you that. I think a lot of people think that it's the former thing, though, where
Gotcha.
it's scanning it and auto kicking it out. And I want to be very clear that is not happening right now. We are not there.
Okay.
So it could be. That said, you should always, always, always be tailoring your resume to the job description. And again, with that said, the reason that there are so many applications for so many jobs these days is because of ChatGPT, because you can use ChatGPT so effectively to align your resume with a job description very quickly. So that said, stop applying online. Really, use these other things that we have talked about. In the age of AI, humans are your best friend. Meet people, start talking to people, network with people, stop fighting with the robots. It's not going to work for you. It's gridlocked. Absolutely.
I've been so validated. Look at me. I'm dancing.
Such great feedback. Yeah. And it's true. It's like, it's not the robots aren't your problem. It's the fact that you're putting it somewhere where the robot might even get at it.
Exactly. Yeah.
We were talking earlier about networking, and at every job I have ever had, except for one, I've only gotten one job not including the one at Wendy's. Wendy's, I didn't network to get that one. But I only had one project management job ever where I actually went through the process of submitting an application through a job board and doing an interview. Every other job I've ever had, I got through networking, through a colleague, through a friend, or something like that. It was through networking. It was only one job that I ever get through submitting a blind application.
Yeah, I think I've only had one job, maybe two, probably three jobs that I've submitted applications for. But this would also include super early in my career, whenever, I'm a college educated baby and I have experience. I'm going to be cheap, so they're going to pick me.
Wendy's?
Mm-hmm.
No, the only food service place I ever worked at was a smoothie shop. But if I didn't have a friend or like a networking type colleague at a job, I had a recruiter I was working with, and who is a person who was able to talk to their people and say, "Oh, I've met Kate. I think they're great, and I know 3 different roles that Kate would be great for. Like, go meet them and then let us know what you want to do." Like that was the other way I got my jobs, which, again, to your point, Kayla, is a human. I don't know if that's as effective now, but that was very effective for me about 10 years ago.
Yeah, recruiters work just as well. I mean, yeah, exploit the human. And I have to tell you, even when I got my cake decorating job, I worked for one of the top 2 cake decorating places in Chicago. I did not cold apply. I took my happy rear end to Michael's and I got some fake styrofoam cakes, and I made fondant out of marshmallows, and I made fake cakes, and I took horrible pixelated pictures on my Generation 1 iPhone and printed it out and passed it around on foot to bakeries. And that is how I got a job interview.
Incredible.
I know that it's so easy to press easy apply, but that is why you're not getting the job interview. You have to do things differently. I got another job once because I stood up my own website I took and edited my own a video resume of myself. Do things differently.
Even within your own company, when I got into the leadership development program that I got into, the prompt was like, tell us about, your career and your life. And what I did was I started my video by leaning into my camera and saying, "Hi, human on the other side of this camera. How is your day going? I hope it's going well. I'm sure that all these videos are not as fun to listen to, but I hope that we have a nice time for the next 4.5 minutes." And then I did the rest of it. And I think I got that. I mean, I got in on those first 30 seconds without a doubt. Nobody shut up about it. Whenever they talked to me, they're like, "You're the person, you're Kate." I'm like, "I am Kate. What did I do that's so interesting?"
Totally.
So,
They're going to decide in the first 30 seconds whether or not they like you. And if you do something different and you do something relatable, something that nobody else is doing, boom, that's it. And you just demonstrated it.
Well, this has been an awesome discussion today. We love getting folks on to talk about career coaching. I also could tell, Kayla, that it's just appears to be your superpower, but not just for if I wanted to be a cake decorator, I would also call you and be like, "How can I get into the cake decorating industry?" It's just a superpower you have. So it sounds like, if I were to recap from today, right, we want to think about if you're job hunting, you want to think about your project management, iron triangle of your career search, which would include your credentials, your experience, and your network.
100%. Yeah.
And don't rely on the easy button.
Yeah. Stay away from the easy apply button at all costs.
Well, if somebody is out there hunting and is like, "Kayla, teach me how to become a cake decorator and or a project manager," where can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn, and my name is difficult to spell, so I'm going to spell it. Kayla, Kayla, is easy. Quijas is not easy. Quijas on LinkedIn.
And your TikTok handle is much easier to remember, which is the PM Career Coach.
Thank you, because I didn't remember it.
You're doing great.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Kayla. It has been really informative. I learned a lot, and I know this is a great time. Maybe it's always a good time for project managers seeking jobs to get some good career advice. So as we wrap up and Kate and I get the next round, can I ask you to propose a virtual toast to wrap up our show today?
May the job interviews and offers you need come pouring in this week.
Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
And that's our show. Thanks for listening. If you liked our show, please leave a review and a comment on iTunes or wherever you get our podcast. Your review really does mean a lot. And if you want to check out our membership site and all of our cool content there, you can check that out at pmhappyhour.com/membership. If you want to talk to us directly about project management, PM consulting, training, or whatever, our contact info is on our website under About Your Hosts, or you can just hit us up on our Facebook site at PM Happy Hour. You'll find we're really pretty easy to get a hold of there. And that's it for today. Good luck with your projects, and we hope to catch you again at the next PM Happy Hour. Cheers.